So, the first story on our plate comes from Dual Pixels, who reports that a very reliable source who previously leaked Fairy Type and Mega Evolution for Pokemon X and Y, leaked information about PS4's hardware, and the existence of Microsoft's Illumiroom all correctly. This source has now revealed a megaton of information about the NX, so buckle up. So apparently the NX will be about as powerful as the Xbox One. Its hardware will be built almost exactly like Sony and Microsoft's current gen consoles, and it can play games coded for either with next to no modification, especially if they're built in Android OS or Unreal Engine 4. One developer said it's the easiest device we've ever developed for. You just take your code, compile it, and it works. One of its core concepts is integrating many disparate devices and network services in one place so that it can constantly involve the user's life. You can use Bluetooth to sync NX to all kinds of devices, including smartphones and tablets, and this connectivity will let you answer phone calls and read texts from the NX. Not only that, but it's going to take multiplayer games, AR features, and Street Pass functionality to a whole new level. We don't know what that means, but the rumor says that you can look to Pokemon Go when that comes out to get a sense for what these kinds of features will look like. Now, all this may sound totally crazy, but get this. The biggest strength of the system is how easy it will be to use. Developers say the NX's appearance looks like Samsung had a baby with the Nintendo 2DS. It operates on software called Nintendo OS, which is very powerful and includes many modern features from mobile devices. Now, it's these reasons that Nintendo is being so secretive about the NX, because they fear consumers might mistake it for an Android device if it's revealed in the wrong way. And if this all sounds scary to you, fear not, because it does sound like it will still be a dedicated games device. It has a wireless HDMI dongle based on the streaming technology that the Wii U gamepad used, which plugs into any device, including the NX, to stream HDMI signals to a TV set. Its control sticks have added haptic feedback, so for example, you can run into a wall in a game, and then the control stick will give you a little nudge to make it feel like you really ran into it. And finally, to top it all off, he quoted a Nintendo employee working on the NX who says that they've not seen this much forward momentum on a project since we launched the original Famicom. Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's interesting is a lot of this is actually pretty similar to rumors we've heard in the past.
Yeah.
So, I don't find any of it particularly hard to believe, because this is not the first report we've seen where we were told it would be comparable in power to Xbox One. It's not the first report we've seen that has said it can run Unreal Engine 4. We've seen other reports comparing it to Android devices or suggesting that it could, run on Android or, something similar. And we know that Nintendo was developing software tools to make it super easy to develop for future platforms. Mm-hmm. So, and when there was a patent for haptic feedback.
Yep.
So, almost all of this is stuff we've heard before. The only thing that seems new, but it's something we've speculated about in this podcast, is that it sounds like it's going to be x86 architecture, just like PS4 and Xbox One. Whereas in the past, Iwata had said that it was going to be very similar in architecture to Wii U, and we'd kind of speculated that maybe that they would back off of that and change to cater to third parties a little more, and it sounds like they have.
Yeah.
Yep. Another sort of layer to add to what you were saying about the architecture, Ben, I've heard some other interpretations of Iwata's comment from a few years ago, suggesting that maybe they're talking about specific tool chains that they built for Wii U, porting them over to NX, and then reusing that work that way. So it could be that we were just mistaken about the scope of his quote in the first place.
Interesting. And so, Ben, you mentioned that all of this is information that we've already heard before, and I wonder, I don't think it is, but I wonder if this is almost too
familiar?
Right. It feels like this is matching just about every single other report that we've heard, and in some ways that may make it seem more legitimate. I think it makes it seem more legitimate because this cohesive vision really encapsulates just about everything that we've heard about the NX before in this cohesive way that really sounds like something Nintendo would do. At the same time, because it hits so many points, I wonder if that makes it sound just a little too true. Suspicious.
It's like when an E3 games list leaks, quote unquote, ahead of time, and it's everything you would expect, like new Paper Mario and new like everything that everyone's hoping for. It kind of seems like that, but then at the same time, it's coming from someone who has a very reliable track record.
Right, and that alone, I think, is enough reason for me to say that this rumor is true.
I will also throw my vote into true.
I'm comfortable with at least the stuff that we've heard before being true. Mm-hmm. Some of the other details, like, for example, the wireless HDMI, may They do sound very much like something Nintendo would do. I certainly have speculated in the past that they would want to reuse the streaming tech from Wii U.
Yeah.
But I just don't have any way to say whether that's likely or not. And I'm a little more skeptical of sources than I think maybe I should be. So I'm going to go with mostly true.
You always do this. You gotta make the leap of faith, man. I'm sure I could be eating my words in a couple months, but...
To be fair, almost every rumor has, like, a few slightly misinterpreted nuggets
I
in it.
know. That's why...
Yeah, when you were talking about this being almost too true, that really spoke to me, because a lot of this is, like, so similar to stuff we've heard before that it wouldn't take any inside information whatsoever to come up with this.
Right.
So...
Right.
For that reason, I'm withholding some of my faith.
All right.
But I'm mostly confident.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week Clip NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week Podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.